Very good morning, students. Last lecture we have seen about the quantitative and the qualitative analysis, and the grammatic analysis is the part of the quantitative analysis. Let us see now the steps which are involving in the grammatic analysis. In this technique, the analyte is converted into an insoluble form which can then be washed, dried and weighed in order to determine the concentration of the analyte in the original solution. So it is in a solid. So we can filter it, properly dry it, make it very pure and then weigh it properly. By means of grammatic factor, we can measure the weight of the element which is present in it. Gravity is applied to samples where a good precipitation agent is available. So when we want that any product in a dried condition, we have to use the proper precipitating agent. The precipitate should be quantitative, easily washed and filtered and of suitable quantity for accurate weighing. So that's it. So when we want to take it in a dried form, so it should be quantitative, so measurable, easily washed and filtered and with a suitable quantity for accurate weighing. That's it. This is the grammatic analysis. Therefore, grammetry is regarded as a macro analytical technique. It is used in a worldwide. However, it is considered, when appropriately done, one of the most accurate analytical technique. Also, grammatic is one of the few analytical methods that do not require standard solution, as the weight of precipitate is the only important parameter in analyte determination. So that's what it has, very accuracy and used in a worldwide. So the properties of precipitates are, it should be having that low solubility, no significant loss of analyte occurs during the filtration and washing. It should be in a high in purity, known composition. After drying and ignition, known chemical composition which we have, easy to separate from reaction mixture and stable under atmospheric conditions. So it must be stable, then only we can make it dry. Let us see this table on the screen, which gives that the parameters how that precipitating agent it is to be used for proper ions. Specific analyzed potassium, that is precipitate Kb C6H54, and from weight same and some interfering species which are present with it, that ammonia, silver, mercury, titanium, rubidium and the calcium, which we have to remove it. So by means of purity, we have to remove, first of all, when we want to measure the potassium, the interfering radicals can be removed. So likewise, magnesium, calcium, barium, chromium, manganese and the nickel, they can be make that very pure in the form by means of using the proper precipitating agent, and the interfering radicals we have to remove it in proper manner. So let us see, these are the on the screen which you have to see, that there it is the formula which that magnesium and the nickel, by means of using the proper precipitating agent, we can make it a chillette around the metal nickel and magnesium, and we have to take it out. So this is the precipitating agent. Steps in grammatic analysis. After appropriate dissolution of the sample, the following steps should be followed for a successful grammatic procedure. First is the precipitation. Steps in grammatic analysis. After the appropriate dissolution of the sample, the following steps should be followed for the successful gravimetric procedure. First is the precipitation of the solution. This step is very important because we are taking the precipitate solid in the precipitate form. This may involve several steps including adjustment of the pH of the solution in order for the precipitate to occur quantitatively and get a precipitate of desired properties, removing interferences, adjusting the volume of the sample to suit the amount of precipitating agent to be added. Now the precipitation, this requires addition of a precipitating agent solution to the sample solution. Upon addition of the first drops of the precipitating agent, supersaturation occurs and then nucleation starts to occur where every few molecules of precipitate aggregate together forming a nucleus. At this point, addition of extra precipitating agent will either form a new nuclei or will build upon existing nuclei to give a precipitate. This can be predicted by von Weyman ratio, where according to this relation, the particle size of is inversely proportional to the quantity called the relative supersaturation solution. So relative supersaturation equal to Q minus S divided by S, whereas the Q is the concentration of the reactant before precipitation, S is the solubility of the precipitate in the medium from which it is being precipitated, and therefore in order to get particle growth instead of further nucleation, we need to make the relative supersaturation ratio as small as possible. The optimum conditions for precipitation which make the supersaturation low are precipitation using dilute solution to decrease Q. Slow addition of precipitating agent keep Q as low as possible. Stirring the solution during addition of precipitating agent to avoid concentration sites and keep Q low. Increase solubility by precipitation from hot solution. Adjust the pH in order to increase S but not too much increase, as we do not want to lose precipitate by dissolution, and usually add a little excess of precipitating agent for quantitative precipitation and check for completeness for the precipitation. Now the precipitation from homogeneous solution. In order to make Q minimum, we can in some situation generate the precipitating agent in the precipitation medium rather than adding it. For example, in order to precipitate iron as the hydroxide, we dissolve urea in the sample. Heating the solution generates hydroxide ions from the hydrolysis of urea. Hydroxide ions are generated at all points in solution and thus there are no sites of concentration. We can also adjust the rate of urea hydrolysis and thus control the hydroxide generation rate. This type of procedure can be very advantageous in case of colloidal precipitate. Digestion of the precipitate. The precipitate is left hot below boiling for 30 minutes to 1 hour in order to particles to be digested. So the digestion involves dissolution of small particles and reprecipitation on larger ones, resulting in particle growth and better precipitate characteristic. This process is called ostwald ripening. An important advantage of digestion is observed for colloidal precipitates where large amount of adsorbed ions cover the huge area of the precipitate. Digestion forces the small colloidal particles to agglomerate, which decreases their surface area and thus adsorption. During digestion at elevated temperatures, small particles tend to dissolve and deprecipitation on larger ones. Individual particles are agglomerated and adsorbed impurities tend to go into solution. So, on the screen you have seen about the silver chloride, how it is to be formed. Filtering and the washing the precipitate, this is the important step. It is crucial to wash the precipitate very well in order to remove all adsorbed species which will add to weight of precipitate. One should be careful not to use too much water since part of the precipitate may be lost. And also in case of colloidal precipitates, we should not use water as a washing solution since peptidization would occur. In such a situation, dilute nitric acid nitric acid, ammonium nitrate or dilute acetic acid may be used. Usually, coagulated particles return to the colloidal state if washed with water, a process called peptidization. So, the colloidal agglomeration, there is the precipitate forms, and precipitate peptidization, there is the colloidal form which forms. Adsorption and the particle size. So we want that proper nucleation, therefore adsorption and the particle size should be properly managed. You should know that adsorption is a major problem in gravity in case of colloidal precipitate since a precipitate tends to adsorb its own ions present in excess, forming what is called a primary ion layer which attracts ions from solution, forming a secondary or a counter ion layer. Individual particles repel each other, keeping the colloidal properties of the precipitate. Particle coagulation can be forced by either digestion or addition of a high concentration of a diverse ions, strong electrolytic solution in order to shield the charges on colloidal particles and force agglomerate. So, on the screen which you have seen the picture, that representation of silver chloride colloidal particles and adsorbed layer when the Cl minus ions which is in a excess. Now this process where that silver chloride homogeneous solution which is to be formed. So the Cl minus or silver plus adsorbs on the particles when in excess, that primary ion layer which you have seen. A counter layer of cations forms. Washing with water will dilute the counter ion layer and the primary layer charge causes the particles to revert the colloidal state, which is peptidization. So, we wash with an electrolyte that can be volatilized on heating nitric acid. Last, it is very important state that drying and the ignition, when that moisture it is formed in the molecule or that substance, then that weight product we will get, and that's what weight is to be increased. The purpose of drying heating at about 120 to 150 degrees centigrade in an oven. Most of 110 degree which we are to be covered, or ignition of a maple furnace at temperature ranging from 600 to 1200 degrees centigrade is to get material with exactly known chemical structure so that the amount of analyte can be accurately determined. Here the crucible which you have to be seen here, then that oven, we are keeping that the crucible in the oven. This is the desiccator which absorbs the moisture which is to be present in the mixture. And the last step we have to calculate by using the gravimetric factor. Thank you. Thank you very much dear students. Take care. Now whatever you have studied with the steps with the gravimetric analysis, please recite it carefully and write a note upon it and please send it on my email ID. My email ID is drsmitagiri2012 @gmail.com. Thank you. Thank you very much. Study hard.